Patience, guys. I don't see it on here yet. Let me try to reload. All right, so yes, we are live. Awesome. All right, so first, welcome everybody. This is super cool. My name is Fred. I am one of the founders of Spredict, and we are, for the first time ever, going live across our channels and live on Abstract. We are incredibly excited to be streaming our Spredict live show across X, across YouTube, on Twitch, and on Abstract, which is just amazing. And so, as shared, I'm Fred, one of the founders of Spredict. I'm excited to be joined here by our co-founder, Max, who also happens to be our CEO. So, Max, if you want to say hello.
Hello Fred, hello Pierre, hello everyone. Happy to be here today to speak about sports, Spredict, and MetaFight. As MetaFight is also a project into Web3, which is dealing with sports and crypto as Spredict. So it's always cool to connect, and happy to welcome you, Pierre, today.
So thanks, Max. And in a second, we'll hear from Pierre and learn a little bit about Metaphyte and the work that they do. And before that, though, just want to share a little bit about what Spredict is for those of you who are getting a sense of who we are for the first time. Spredict is an evolved predictive gaming ecosystem. We're designed to take the elements of predictive gaming and flip them on their head, so to speak. We don't see ourselves as a casino or betting establishment. Instead, we run predictive gaming pools built on a subscription service. And so it allows you to subscribe monthly or for a season for sports and events that you really find enjoyable. Our games are also different. They aren't just pick who's going to win a match or a game. Instead, they have other strategic gaming elements built into them to make the experience a little more fun and engaging for all who use our DApp. And of course, you can always check out our DApp, dap.spredict.io, if you want to get a sense of who we are and what we've built. And then the third piece that really sets us apart, that's really very different, is we're designed to help create engagement in communities through the design of customized prediction pools. And so if you are a project owner, a lounge owner, and let's say you are a really big MMA fan, right? You're really looking forward to today's fight night. You could work with us to create custom prediction pools that could be in use for your community. So it's a great opportunity to build engagement. We've worked really, really hard in designing a DApp that is user-friendly, and we know and are convinced that our model, our structure, will be of high interest to anyone who is a predictive gamer. Max, anything you want to add on that end before we turn it over to Pierre to introduce himself and Metaphyte?
Yeah, you summarize it pretty well. I just can add that yeah, basically we are creating the full ecosystem, a full sports fight up, through those streams. We are going to hold for all the sports event prediction pools we will run onto the DApp, so it will be followed soon by F1 streams as well. And the idea is that we can bring every sports fans into the DApp or into our streams, because we are more focusing on bringing a new experience of prediction rather than the common lonely experience for the end user in front of his computer playing against algorithm. And here we are bringing a new different experience by bringing PvP championships, so player versus player or peer to peer, so that odds, for example, are brought by players themselves, kind of like on Polymarket, for example, and players are competing within a leaderboard, so they are accumulating points by playing on the platform, and at the end of each month they are earning, depending on their ranking in the leaderboard, they are earning SPI token, so the native token we will launch soon. And yeah, so we think that uh, our product needs to bring more fun, new experience, and more communication and interactions among players and communities.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. So, Pierre, thank you for joining us. Pierre's here from Metaphyte. Pierre, why don't you share a little bit about Metaphyte's vision and some of the work that you've been doing?
Absolutely. First of all, thank you, Fred. Thank you, Max, for the invitation. I really appreciate it, especially for the first one. Um, Putting just a little camera for you to see me, but I don't have much network, so I prefer to make it fluid and that you can hear me well. So the vision about Metafight, what is it? This is about creating entertainment solution into the MMA using the crypto and blockchain technology to add more features to the traditional card game. So, what is our business? We have created collection cards for MMA fighters. Each one of them is getting a set of cards that are reflecting his actual condition, so their efficiency into the cage, and all the information regarding the sports aspect. The gym they are in, the organization they fight for, and all kind of sports information. And on top of that, because we thought creating only a card collection wouldn't be enough, we have developed a game around it, which we define by the term management card game, where this is a trading card game where you act as a manager to train your fighters, create their training program, and also to oversee their game plan into a real fight. So we have tried to replicate the key elements that makes a fight. We'll get to that probably later on, but and one of the aspects that we have included into the project was to share part of the revenue that are being made onto the fighter cards with the fighters themselves and their managers as well, obviously. We try to had a positive aspect by using the NFT technology and the royalties functionality to allow sharing revenue with the fighters, so that we are all incentivized into the success of the platform instead of just purchasing their image and then making the money out of their image. We prefer to really include them into the project so that they can make the most of it when it succeeds.
That sounds amazing. And so, how long have you been in operation, Pierre?
So Metafight started back in late 2021. Basically, we're out of France, and we followed the legalization of MMA in France in 2020. We had some contact back then, and still into the MMA ecosystem, and we realized that MMA is one of the most watched sports globally. This is not geographically limited to some areas, like football can be, for example. This is really a global sport with more views than some real strong competition. And the second element was there wasn't much of entertainment solution except for the major UFC game from EA Sports. There isn't that much that is using the IPs of the fighters and yeah, a cool solution into gaming. So we thought bringing together the gaming, the MMA, and using the crypto technologies would be a good fit for the market. So we started, when we contacted the first fighters in late 2021, and since then we've made a lot of progress. So we edited the first cards back in summer 2022, alongside a very basic prototype for the game. And the year after, in 2023, we released the first the alpha version of the game with a little bit more features into it, and especially the rewards.
That is awesome. It's such a cool structure, and I think it one of the things it also speaks to, which we can always talk about at another time too, right? I think one of the one of the challenges that this space faces is the belief that great work happens quickly, right? And so it's refreshing to hear that you and Metafight have been at this for years, right? And Max and I can also share, right? We've been working on building elements of Spredict since December, I think it was 2022, right? So I mean, we're getting up there in terms of
Even October, I would say.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
right, exactly. So I think it's really nice when we have the opportunity to talk with projects who have a longer history, right? Who've really been at the work for years. Because I think sometimes people can look at the space and feel like things should be happening in days or weeks or months, right? But we know that like things take time. It doesn't just happen overnight. So it's refreshing to hear you share that.
Yeah, and you can do the analogy with the launch of Abstract a few days ago. Everyone were very pump and hyped about NFTs uh, uh, to launch on Abstract, and the Abstract ecosystem launching itself. And it happens that the collection which has launched, for most of them, have been deceptive in terms of return, of quick return for the buyers, and so there has been a lot of FUD and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's so funny because as a builders, you can know that you are in almost daily contact with the Abstract team. They have a clear vision. They have delivered a ton already through the portal. So the portal available at abs.xyz. Um, and yeah, there are so much element for a new protocol like this that most of the L2s have developed, but after a certain amount of time, and you have this section with the streaming, which is yeah, very innovative. Basically, it's the Twitch of Web3, where you can tip streamers. By the way, guys, if you want to tip us, feel free to do it, of course. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, usually in this space, how the people are very very stressed about things which has to happen overnight, but to do great stuff and sustainable token economics and business model and project as a whole, you need time. You need to uh, to make mistake. You need to pivot. You need to make tests to have feedback from the community. So you arrive at the end at the same conclusion that the cornerstone of each project is to have a OG community in order to have precious feedback to make the good choice in the futures and to update the product according to those feedbacks. And that's what Abstract team is doing, and is doing it well because they have a very OG builder community, and around all those builders, they are their own communities. So it's like a DAO of communities, which are aggregating and doing positive feedback as well as positive criticism, and it permits the Abstract team to make the updates necessary to improve the whole ecosystem.
So, oh yeah, Pierre,
Yeah.
share what you've got.
No, yeah, just to follow up on what Max was saying, we have been following with much attention the launch of Abstract because we're very yeah, interested into what the new chains can offer, yeah, especially into this ecosystem. As you said, Fred, we both started about 2 or 3 years ago. We are in a very fast changing ecosystem, and the trends are following one after the other, and you have to keep you informed and yeah, follow very closely what's happening into the space, so that you can remain competitive all the time. And this is one of the lessons we integrated into our thinking for the business. Otherwise, at some point you get outpowered in terms of technology. Not the right word, but you get it. And so this is why, yeah, very interested into what's gonna happen, what's about to become for this streaming option into Abstract, which is quite innovative. And uh, especially we will release our new version of the game quite soon, and this might be one of the platform we could be using to do some communications and to showcase the game. So yeah, very bullish into Abstract.
Awesome. Yeah, I think Max and I would agree. We've loved the opportunity to engage with such a young chain that actually, I think even even with Base, right? When Base launched about a year and a half ago, um, it it felt like it was a pretty amazing launch, but it was hard to feel connected to it. It was like um, the chain didn't have a personality of its own, right? What's been so interesting with Abstract is that the team is so integrated into the larger community that you feel not only the value of the technical side of the chain, but also like that it's already like bubbling up with energy and with personality. And that's the first time I've ever felt that way about an actual chain, right? Where I feel like it's more than just a place to deploy, where I feel like it actually has its own story to tell, which maybe feels a little bit weird, but I think the team has really done such a good job in um, in creating that lore that already exists, um, which to me is so important in this space. And Pierre, just to add to what you were saying, it made me think it's such a hard balance because, like you shared, the space moves so quickly that you have to always be working to stay up to date on what's happening. But at the same time, you also know you've got to be strategic and methodical and take your time as you build. And so it's so hard to balance those two things effectively. So I think it's a great point.
Yeah, I would say that it's more that you are like adjusting the tactic, so over the short term to what it's evolving technically, or in terms of marketing and stuff, and trends, as Pierre mentioned, within this space. But uh, as you mentioned, Fred, over the strategy, so over the long term, uh, if you are focused on making a market fit product that the OG community has already validated in terms of fun and playability and user interface, etc., etc., that you should stick to it and be authentic, in the way you are building it. Then if you have to add some new elements following a specific trend, like implementing an element of AI, for example, for Spredict, that's something we have already think about in the past, and we may implement, but it would stay one specific element, not the cornerstone or the spin of the product, but something like human versus machine prediction, something like that, to add some fun. But as the spin of Spredict is the PvP competition among sports fans around the world, we won't touch that, and we want to stay authentic to our product. And I guess that for MetaFight is the same. They have like a spin of the product, and they can add some elements depending on the trend, but the main product is remaining authentic.
Yeah, you're quite right, Max. Basically, how do we work? Is that we have the main product that is being under building constantly, and then we are trying the new innovation that are coming up on top of the market on the side to evaluate both the potential, the usefulness, and for potential integration into the whole ecosystem. For example, AI agent, which is one of the newest trends at the moment. We have built something not under the official Metafight names, because this is about trying it for experience, and to evaluate, is this something that should be into the Metafight ecosystem? If so, can it be added without taking any resources from the main product, and building something with limited resources to know if this would be a good addition to the project. So yeah, we are keeping a close eye onto everything that is coming out. And you mentioned earlier on the chain choice. On that matter, on our side, we are being agnostic, whether it is in MMA or into tech. We are not tied to a single chain, because we don't believe this would be this is the path that the ecosystem will be taking in the future. I don't believe that in the close future we will be only using a single chain. This would be more like a nest of multiple specifically purposed chains that are being used for different use cases. So uh, on our architecture, basically most of it has been built so that it would be we would be able to port it or to add another chain to the ecosystem, and this is the vision. We see it fit. If someone wants to possess the assets onto this chain or this other chain, for, so far I'm talking about EVM chain, obviously, since I'm not so compatible chain are more difficult to be working together at the same time. But yeah, this is kind of the vision of the tech we have at Medfight.
Awesome. It's, again, for everyone who's listening, you can see the importance of thinking through each move that Metafight makes. And so appreciate it, Pierre. It's awesome. It's so great to hear about the work that you're doing. And I think it's time for us to shift to talk a little bit about our bouts coming up. And nothing. For the transition, we'll have to put in some sort of bell, right? So here we go. Okay, here we are ready, right? Ready to talk about
Let's
our.
go.
Yeah, let's go. Okay, so here's what we've got coming up, right? In just a short bit, we have basically our fight night, which is taking place in Saudi Arabia at the venue. I have to just tell both of you, it's really funny because I was curious. Most arenas have a name, right? This venue is called the venue, right? It's A and B Arena, but everyone calls it the venue. So I was curious what it looked like. I could find like no pictures of this, so I'm not even sure where they are actually fighting, right? If you search for the venue in Riyadh, like nothing comes up. You can't even tell where they're fighting. So I I just thought that was kind of interesting and funny. But the um the two kind of big bouts in this fight night are, of course, between Adesanya, right? So our friend Izzy, who is like the most memeable UFC fighter of all time, right? He's like the Archer, right? When you see like people post gifs in chats with like holders versus like sellers, right? He's doing like the archery, like drawing back and firing the arrows, and then he is fighting uh, Imavov, right? And then the other uh, co the other co-main event is like the our friend the Russian Hair King, right? So if you've ever seen um, Shara's hair, it is unbelievable. This guy, he has some of the most amazing hair you've ever seen. Versus our friend Michael Venom Page, right? So the MVP. And so, why don't we go and focus in on each of the cards just for a couple minutes? We happen to chat with a really, really good journalist who does a lot of work around MMA and UFC, and so I'll share his picks as well. But I'll wait. I'll wait until we chat about a given bout first. And so, why don't we start with Adesanya versus Imavov? Adesanya's 24-4, Imavov 15-4-1. What are your initial thoughts about that fight? What are you interested in seeing? Um, what are you wondering about? And then give us your pick for how you think the fight will end.
Yeah, so first of all, I should say, I should admit that except for F1, for which I am a huge fan, I was a huge fan of UFC, but way before, you know, when first UFC championship has been done with Royce Gracie, Dan Severn, Tankabot, and guys like this, they were butcher during the day and fighter during the the weekends, So after I was into UFC a lot during GSP, the GOAT for me is the GOAT career. So more around 2000, between 2005 and 2015, I would say. But I should say that recently, with obviously working on Spredict, I'm pushed to get into it a lot more, and yeah, we are back into the screen to watch events with my daughter, And so obviously for me, Imavov, I mean Nasruddin as my preference because he's French. So yeah, I know Adesanya is a great fighter, a complete one. So I think it should be a great fight. Hopefully it will be striking because as I made some boxing when I was younger and Thai boxing as well. So I'm more liking to see fights stand up, like striking fight, more than grappling ones. But yeah, grappling is very technical and it can be great to see. So my preference will go to Nasruddin for this one, just because he's French.
Nice. On my side, first, I'm not, even though I'm working into MMA, I'm not that much of an expert. I remain humble onto it because I really took an interest as we started MedFight, and I had a lot of games to catch up with. So I'm still learning very much about the technicity of the MMA. But on my side, this is a very high-stake fight for both contenders. Basically, Imavov can have a look at the title shot potentially if he wins these fights. This would be a big win against one of the most iconic champions of the last decade. And even though Adesanya is more closer to the end of his career than it's beginning, he's not to be taken lightly. He's still a very strong opponent, and this will be really a good fight. What I would like to see to this fight, this is really about the ground, because I know Imelov has some ground game that that can show. But Adesanya has never been submitted, if I'm being correct. And I would like to see what's happening on the ground during this fight. Uh, I'm not sure about the striking part. Who can overpower the other? Obviously, Adesanya has a lot more experience, but this is really a big opportunity for Imavov. So I'm gonna pick Imavov, and partially because he has his own card into a meta fight as well.
I love it. I love it. And so for me, one of the things that'll be really interesting with this fight is, and I'll just put out there, I'm going to go with Adesanya for a couple reasons. One, um, both fighters are fantastic. If you look at the most recent odds, Adesanya is favored, but not particularly highly. Right, is about 150, 160 on the most recent betting odds. There's a couple reasons why I'm going with him. I think that if he can keep the fight off the ground, if he can avoid significant amounts of grappling, I think the fight goes to him. His combos are fantastic. He's got really solid reach. He's got significant experience, as you shared, Pierre. And yes, is towards, I would say, the certainly second part of his career, right? He's coming off, I believe, two losses, right? So this is a fight for him to potentially really turn things around and show that he's still competitive. The worry for me for him would be if he gets caught up in a lot of grappling or ends up on the ground, then I think that really shifts things significantly. And so for me, it's a matter of whether Adesanya's mobility can keep the fight separated, whether he can really take advantage of his reach and combos and win the fight. And the thing I will say is, I know that if he does win, we're guaranteed for quite a show afterwards. I have seen very few fighters who put on as much of a show as this guy does. I think I had written down which UFC it was. It was 287. he does this move where he literally just falls over and pretends that he's knocked out, and then he's just laying on the ground for like a number of seconds, to the point where one of the refs came over and was like, "What is he doing? You know, did he like injure himself?" It's so he's clearly, I mean, he loves the hype, and one of the funniest fighters to watch afterwards. So Adesanya's got my pick. And by the way, I'm recording all of our picks. So at the conclusion, when I win and you both lose, I can just share how excited I am
You
to be
you
correct.
will be you will be able to say I told you so. So
Exactly. All right, so let's go to our next co-main event, right? We've got Magomedov, right, who is against our friend MVP, right, Michael Venom Page, right? And so, Max, why don't you lead us off? What's your thinking for this fight?
Uh, I heard a friend who said uh, once I made some grappling training. He said to me, if you have a guy in front of you with a big beard without mustache and with a name finishing by O and V, by off something, please avoid to train with him because you will be crushed. So yeah, I tend to think that those guys are particularly fitted and shaped to fight. You know what I mean? I was a huge fan of Emelianenko Fedor as well as Mirko Krokop. You know, in striking, and those guys from East Europe and Russia and those territories at the border of Russia are very they have this in their DNA, you know. So as long as they can be serious in the training and have great skills on the ground, you know, as long as they are on the ground, I would say it's a game over for the opponent. So I will go with the first one you mentioned.
Thanks, buddy. All right, Pierre.
I'll follow up onto what Max said. Uh, I believe there is a gap into the determination of what's bringing Magomedov and MVP into the fight. I've seen this maybe on his second fight in the UFC for Magomedov. Um, Showing his family that a lose would be a disgrace into the family, which is something that is not to be taken lightly because when the guy step into the cage, is kind of playing his honor every fucking time. Sorry for the word fucking. This is a big resolution for a fighter to put so much stake into each single fight. On the other side, I really do love all the branding, the image, and the background of MVP. On this one, I was a bit not disappointed, but not hype as the previous fights of Magomedov. His last fight was not at the level of his previous ones, to my opinion, at least. But I'll still pick Magomedov. They have a strong frame team behind them with a very intensive training and a strong discipline. I'm not saying this isn't the case on the MVP side, but yeah, I'll pick Magomedov on this one. He has a good streak going on, and they aren't here to play. They are here to get to the titles. So yeah.
Yeah, so this is going to be we're all in agreement on this one. So we should all win this one. I think even our friend Mugi agreed as well. There's a couple things for me. First of all, exactly what you were saying, Pierre. There is an intensity that you have to bring uh, to each of these fights. And if you and and it might be a Dagestani outlook, right? First of all, I'll never bet against the Dagestani. I just won't do it, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, yeah, there really is this belief that a loss is like an utter disgrace. So not all fighters um, enter the space with that view. So that's huge. That makes a big difference. The other thing is, you know, I I do think there are also like your look, right? How you come across, and I think Max said this. MVP has great branding. I love when he does the little like snake move, right? I think it's great, but there's something about looking at Shara, right, and seeing the beard. I mean, this guy is an imposing figure, right? I don't think he's ever going to cut his hair. I think that he's going to continue to be undefeated. I mean, 15-0, right? That's incredible. I mean, that is quite the record. And as much as I love MVP's boxing styling, right? He's 22 and 3, 13 KOs. I mean, that's fantastic, right? So this guy can fight. But the thing that made the decision for me, and again, I don't think I could ever bet against Shara. When he was fighting um, Petrosian, he did like this double back fist move, which was crazy, right? So he came back
Definitely.
and hit him right with the right side, and then Petrosian hit, took the hit, and then he came back and hit him with the left, and that was it. It was over. And if that to me, I can't bet against this guy. So I will say the betting lines also. I mean, these two co-main events could be. I really hope there's uh, some good fighting here, and they don't end with like a one hit kind of. I'll be really disappointed, right? Because this line is pretty close too. It's under 200 uh, towards Magomedov, right? So the um, yeah, it should be a good one. So we're all in agreement on that fight. Let's go on to we've got Farisiam, right, 16-4 versus Mike Davis, right, who is 11-2, right. So this is for the lightweight division fight. Um, Max, you want to start us off on these two fighters?
Yeah, I know Fares has great striking skills. I don't know that much his opponent, to be honest. So yeah, I won't be again that what's the word in partial, impartial. I mean, I will be a bit partial and go with Fares, but I know that the odds are against him. So, and as I love challengers and outsiders, so yeah, I go with Fares, even if he's French, obviously it helps. But yeah, I go with Fares for this one.
Pierre, how about you?
Yeah, the same. Me, I'm biased because as well, Fares is one of the fighters in the Meta Fight collection. But that's not my reasoning only. He has a good vibe, a good spirit at the moment. I believe he showed us some confidence during the wave in. Um, I know he's well surrounded. He has a good team, and he's a very intelligent guy. So yeah, I'm going fast. For me, this is not a sure shot, but I'm very confident that Fares will get the win on this one. I'm not getting ahead of myself with predicting the exact results, but for me, Fares will win this one.
So the two of you might not realize it, but I'm American. I'm not French, right? So I'm not sure if you know that, but in this case, I'm gonna go with the Frenchman. I am not gonna go with the American, right? And I would agree with you. I think Faris is so. I think they're both strong fighters. Da- Davis is really a bit of a KO machine, right? If a fight goes the distance, I don't have much faith in him. I think Faris is much more of a versatile, of a utility player. He can engage um, in a variety of different methods of combat. What um what I also think is that Faris also has this battle in terms of reach. She's got significantly larger arm reach and leg reach than Davis does. And so I think all those pieces add up to me feeling more comfortable picking the underdog, right? So you both said Davis is favored in this fight, and that's true, not significantly, but this is a fight where I would give it to the underdog. One thing that I will say, which actually tipped the scales for me, because I do like to pick the Americans, right? We all have a little bit of like patriotism for our own country. But here's the thing. When you listen to Farah's talk, right, and when you listen to Davis talk, there's a key difference. Okay, Davis has reached a point in his career where he's worried about being injured, right? And I'm not saying if you are a UFC fighter, of course you have to be worried about being injured. But when you listen to him, right, and this was just in his UFC interviews ahead of fight night, he talked about hoping to make it through the fight and not get injured, right? And then he also talked. He has a really like Zen type of vibe, like a peace and meditative vibe, and that says to me, right? This guy is like kind of like done. I feel like if you're a fighter and you don't bring some level of intensity to every single interview you have, then I'm not sure you're stepping in against your opponent like really, really like zoned in and locked in for the fight. So I just don't know if he has the heart and intensity to pull out a really tough fight. So I'm with the two of you on this. I'll also say our friend Mugi takes Fares, and he's willing to bet on it being by decision.
Yeah, I would add that, I deeply respect all the fighters in the UFC, all the boxers, all basically people who are
100%.
stepping in on the ring, because I did it myself twice in Thailand, it was the first time for me. I step into the ring, and I can say for a reason that it's really hard, both physically and mentally, and that's why I'm not sure as this guy said this to trick Fares, like I don't want to be injured and stuff, because you and above all at this level of competition you should have go into 100%, otherwise it's true you can be beaten hard, and you can be injured, like 1 week before to step in on the ring for the first time, I kicked the pad, and I turned my big toe, like this, so I was unable to put the feet on the ground, the foot on the ground for maybe a couple hours, and I had the toe swelling a lot, and it was 1 week before the fight. So I was to my trainer, I can't fight, I'm too hurt, and he's clearly said to me, look, every fighters in the world, they never go onto the ring at 100% of their health, they are always a bit injured, or they have something, something which is not fully, you can't be fully good, GSP always said that he was very stressed out before to go onto the octagon, and just the stress just went out like 30 seconds before to come into the octagon. But before, he was really scared, and he didn't like to fight, and I think that everybody you know, you can't love to fight. I mean, you, except if you are really crazy. But even a big champion, you know, can't be happy to fight, you know, because it's tough. Uh, it's when you are beaten. I mean, when you take an elbow on your face, you know, it's not cool. You know what I mean? It's not cool at all. So yeah, basically, I would say maybe it's a kind of trash talking to get Fares, you know, a bit uh, um, disconnected mentally for his focus. But yeah, I will stay on Fares because I think he's strong mentally and he won't take care that much about trash talking.
To jump in, I really do agree that there is a good portion of the outcome of the fight that is being decided even before the fight, in the sense where some guys try to get in the head of the opponent, as you mentioned with Davis, maybe potentially trying to get into Fares's mind before the fight. I don't believe Fares is quite easily or subject to this kind of moves. To have met him and discussed with him a couple of times. This is really a peaceful guy that is very focused onto his objective. He's well surrounded and he's fine onto it. And to me, this kind of move can sometimes backfire onto the fight that intended to create a negative emotion. And on top of it, Fred, you mentioned that he was worried about being injured into at this point of his career. And to me, obviously, if being injured is a concern, you cannot. And I'm talking as an exterior person. I'm not a fighter or whatsoever, so my opinion doesn't count that much on that matter. But if you step into the cage with not a serene mind, you you have kind of already lost some confidence and some this could translate into a late reaction or reflex because your mind is not entirely focused on the outcome of the fight. And this is also what we see sometimes during fights, fighters getting injured and just carrying on, ignoring the pain for the 15 or 25 minutes that the fight is lasting. And when they got out, they're going to focus entirely onto their recovery. But during the fight, no matter what, you have to do the best with your condition. So yeah, I'll stick with Fares as well. He's a strong guy.
Yeah, I would agree with both of you. I do love the trash talking that happens too. Just a quick chime in. Thanks to Mason for stopping by. Love having you check out the stream, and we got our first tips. So thank you, Bliss. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody who stopped by and
Congrats.
who is listening. Thank you, thank you. So let's talk about the last fight. This is like our big boys, right? The heavyweights, right? We've got Pavlovich, we've got Rosenstreich. Um, Max, I'll turn it over to you first to get your thinking.
Yeah, I will just go with the odds. So I will go with Pavlovich for me.
And how about you, Pierre?
The same because Pavlovich has had a couple. He jumped into the UFC with a strong hype, very strong Russian guy that could overpower some of the top of the category. Unfortunately, when got there, he got some losses. For me, this is a big opportunity and a high stake fight for him to display at which level of the heavyweight category he belongs to. Does he have what it takes to be a top two, top one fighter, or is it still some experience to be acquired before eventually getting to the title shot. And as well, Rosenzeich has been in the UFC for quite a long time, I believe, and the same as Adesanya, I believe he's more onto the second part of his career, and kind of statistically, at some point, where when you are on your last fight, you tend to have less wins. Again, I'm not saying he's not in a good condition, or that he's not a good fighter, but Pavlovich has more to win into it, and I believe he didn't came at the UFC to fool around. So the determination of Pavlovich to play with Aspinall, with Cyril Gane, and eventually John Jones, but that's less unlikely. He has to prove that he's the third guy into the competition for the next heavyweight champion, the official one.
So I mean, we are pretty well aligned, gentlemen, right? I think aside from me taking Adesanya, maybe because I just love how like memeable he is. Um, I'm in the same boat. I'm going with Pavlovich too. I don't I don't often bet on the chalk. I mean, Pavlovich is favored pretty significantly, right at 300 for this fight. And oftentimes when odds are that high in any sport, I often take a step back and think about it. I don't I, I don't see that being the case here. First of all, they're both KO machines. I mean, I'm
Definitely.
right. Like anything can happen, and when these guys are in the are in a fight, it can end 7 8 seconds. I mean, with the extent of a punch, a knee, right? So this is not one where I would take any. I don't think I take any bets on the style of finish for this. Our friend Mugi takes Pavlovich too, but said he wouldn't take any money on how the fight ends. But the thing that pushed
on
me.
on that
Go
one,
ahead.
I don't see the fight going to the decision. I believe this will be finished off out of TKO or KO by one or the other. I don't see it. Pavlovich has to show that not only he's winning, but he still got his KO power on, and this is what he has made his name on the debuts, and this is what's making him famous and bankable into the UFC. So I believe he'll try to go for the TKO before the end.
Yeah, and to
I
be
would agree.
honest, often that in heavyweight division you don't have many fights which ends after the third round, because
Yeah,
those guys are
they're
has a
tired.
lot of muscles to move, you know. So when you are eating and you are being eat as well, you have to block, and you have to manage your breathing, and if you go onto the ground, you put ground and pound on your opponent, or you have to protect yourself, you know. And this take a lot of energy, and at those weights, I recognize that it's complex for the fighters when it's go more than 10 or 12
Oh
minutes
yeah.
fight, you know. It's complicated.
But this is where I'm seeing a new trend into the heavyweight category, where in the past the cardio wasn't as as of importance as it is right now, with the new fighters jumping into the category. Aspinall, Cyril Gane, that have jumped quite recently in terms of years finally, and they do have imposed more focused and cardio really high. That makes kind of the new meta into the heavyweight category, and this might be one of the things Rosenzweig hasn't focused
Oh, we lost you on the last bit, Pierre. You must have gone into like a an area with bad signal. I I think, and if we get you back, Pierre, we can have you chime in. But I agree. I think that it has shifted, right? The ability for some of the heavyweight fighters to last longer is showing itself. It does seem like there is a shift. Oh, are you back? Oh, uh-oh. Well, hopefully Pierre will come back. But
Not
yes,
back.
I would, right, I would agree. I do think, so I don't know. Now I'm predicting in ways that I'm not as comfortable with. But Max, do you think this fight will go past round one?
No, I don't think so.
I
Because
agree.
I mean, heavyweight, above all with guys like Pavlovich, who have has some some points to prove. He has to say, look, I'm ready. Look, Dana, I'm ready for a title shot. So yeah, I will show you that I deserve it. So if he's struggling against the number 9 in ranking, you know, it's for me it's not worth for Dana to put him a title shot. So
I
yeah,
agree.
I think he will try to finish it as soon as it can, and yeah, we will see.
So, and the last piece I'll share, what I also thought was interesting, right? We were talking a little bit before about, hey, welcome back, Pierre, about Shara's kind of comment about like feeling like it's a disgrace if he loses. Pavlovich, one of the um, one of the interviewers had said to him like, "Oh, things haven't looked so good for you lately," and he had a real like whatever type of attitude. And again, I know it's all for show a lot of times, right? But his thing was like, I don't care if people don't like me anymore. It doesn't matter to me. I'm here not just for my fans. I'm here to win, right? I'm here to fight. And so that I think is an important piece too. So I'm going with Pavlovich for sure. So here we are. Pierre, we're going to get you for the end, for the wrap up. Here we are at the wrap up of um, our show. I have recorded our picks, right? Because it's important for us to be able to memorialize and honor those picks. And
And you
when
can't escape. You can't
Adesanya
escape when
does
when when
his
Adesanya will
arrow
lose. You
his
can't
arrow
escape.
move, right? When he wins, right? Then you'll see me. Maybe I'll hop on
you
stream
you know
just to do that to the
you
two
know
of
you
you.
know that particular move. I think he has taken it from Muay Thai. Because
Yes, 100%.
yeah, because fighters do what we call a way crew. So it's basically a dance to give honor to your trainers, to the fighters whom have fought within this particular ring, and so on and so forth. It's like esoteric stuff.
Yeah,
To bring the good vibes and energy to win the fight. And
totally.
this stuff is like they are doing like a theater scene.
Of course, of course.
They are trying one time, say they are doing it again. No, no. And third time they are taking their time. They are targeting, and then yeah,
That's
like
right.
this. And it's really like something as well that allow fighters to put the stress out their body, you know and they can be focused on their fight. But yeah, it's very funny. I reckon from Israel to do that.
So so
I
one
see them back. Sorry for that, guys.
no
No worries.
worries. No worries. worries, Pierre. We are just about wrapping up. Anything, Pierre, that you want to share as final thoughts for Fight Night? Anything that you want to leave us with on behalf of MetaFight?
Well, first, we believe this fight night is quite a very decent card that they are displaying at the moment. And no, on behalf of MetaFight, best of luck to all fighters, even if they aren't yet into MetaFight cards collection. But we'll be watching it very closely and happy happy to see what happens finally.
Thanks, Pierre. And Max, how about you? Anything you want to close us out with?
Yeah, so yeah, myself, I will talk more about Spredict because yeah, actually, as you mentioned, the DAP is live, isn't live right now because we are fine tuning every element to integrate AGW, so Abstract Global Wallet, so the native wallet of Abstract, as well as the paymaster element. So I won't go into details, but basically it will be a great feature that Abstract team has included in their wallet that will permit for projects to take in charge the gas fees when the user are making transaction on the product to validate that transaction. So in our case, in the case of Spredict, their prediction. So we are just fine tuning it, testing everything to be sure that everything is working as expected. Once this is done, we will contact back Mason from Abstract team to be showcases in the Abstract portal. And for you all to be able to start to upvote for us, of course, and give us some strengths and some good vibes to launch. And our goal is to launch for the UFC 312, so on the 9th of February, and we will go up with streaming like this with a huge one. We are some guest speakers already set, and we will try to have as much as fun as we can, and making our prediction live on the platform. This way the audience can see our product and can play it themselves, as it will be free to earn. And I won't let you know another alpha, but there will be very good interest for you to interact with our product and to make as much point as you can by predicting. So stay tuned, and happy to have shared our thought about UFC Fight Night.
So thank you, Max. As always, thank you, Pierre, for joining us. On behalf of the Spredict team, I am Fred. It's been fantastic to run this UFC Fight Night with all of you, and as the host, since I get the last word, I can't wait to beat both Pierre and Max in my picks and predictions for today. So see you all. Thank you again. We'll see you soon.
Thank you, guys.